I should have known something was off the moment we got to the airport. Everyone was moving so fast, checking bags, printing boarding passes, making last-minute calls. But when I stood there with my suitcase, waiting for Amanda to hand me my passport, there was this hesitation. Her eyes flicked toward Daniel, my son, for a brief second. It was subtle, but not subtle enough for me to miss it. "Mom, I don't have your passport," Amanda finally said, forcing a nervous little laugh like it was just an innocent mistake. "I thought you had it." "No, Amanda. You told me you were handling the documents. You took them from me 2 days ago to organize everything." I felt my heart drop. My fingers tightened around the handle of my suitcase. Daniel, standing next to her, rubbed the back of his neck. "It's probably in one of the bags." "Calm down, Mom. Hold on a moment before we move forward. Let us know where in the world you're watching from. And if you're loving these stories, don't forget to hit subscribe. Tomorrow's episode is going to be absolutely mind-blowing." I could hear the irritation under his voice. "Calm down?" I hadn't raised my voice. I hadn't even reacted yet. But the lump building in my throat made it almost impossible to speak. Amanda shifted her weight from one foot to the other. "We have to check in now. Let's just go ahead and check, and maybe they can help." Her words felt hollow, mechanical. She knew exactly what she was doing. As we approached the check-in counter, the airline attendant greeted us with a smile. "Passports, please." Daniel handed over his. Amanda handed over hers. The kids, Emma, and Liam were giggling, oblivious to the tension creeping into the edges of the scene. Then it was my turn. I stood there, empty-handed. I don't have mine," I admitted quietly. Amanda immediately chimed in. "We can't find her passport. Is there anything we can do?" The attendant gave a sympathetic smile, but shook her head. "Unfortunately, without a valid passport, she can't board an international flight. There's nothing I can do. You'll need to go to the passport agency." For a few seconds, no one spoke. I stood there, humiliated, as Amanda let out an exaggerated sigh. "Oh no. This is terrible." Daniel looked at me, avoiding my eyes. "I guess there's no choice, Mom. I'll call you when we land, okay?" They didn't even pretend to help me search. Not a single hand reached into a bag to check. Amanda turned away to help the kids with their backpacks, like this was just some random inconvenience, not something she had orchestrated. My chest tightened. The disbelief was overwhelming. I watched as they handed in their luggage, moved toward the security line, and waved half-heartedly as they disappeared behind the glass doors. I stood there frozen, suitcase still in hand, feeling a mixture of shame, confusion, and something deeper, something I hadn't felt in a long time: betrayal. Not the kind that comes from strangers, the kind that slices deeper, because it comes from the people you loved most. The drive back home was quiet, too quiet. I didn't even bother turning on the radio. I just sat there gripping the wheel, every turn on the familiar road feeling heavier than the last. When I got home, the house felt different, emptier, like something had been stolen from me, even though everything was still in its place. I dropped my suitcase by the front door and sat on the couch, staring at nothing. My phone buzzed. A text from Daniel. "Sorry about what happened, Mom. We'll call you when we arrive. Love you. Love you." The audacity. I put the phone down. I couldn't even type a response. I replayed everything over and over in my mind, the subtle smirk Amanda tried to hide, the way Daniel avoided looking at me, the fact that no one ever actually checked for the passport, because they knew. They knew it wasn't there. Because Amanda had taken it 2 days ago, she insisted on getting everything organized for the trip. She came over, grabbed all the documents, saying, "Don't worry, Ida, I've got it all under control. You deserve to relax." I believed her. Like the fool I was, now here I was, alone, in the same house where I had hosted birthdays, babysat their kids, lent them money, helped them with mortgage payments more than once, I started scrolling through my phone mindlessly. That's when I saw it. Amanda had posted on Facebook, "Family trip. Major repairs and vacations. Over a period of years exceeds that threshold." Furthermore, Mrs. Collins was misled into transferring the deed under the false premise of tax advantages, while continuing to shoulder 100% of the financial burden. The judge raised an eyebrow. "Mr. Collins?" He addressed Daniel directly. "Did you make any contributions, financial or otherwise, to the Tahoe property?" Daniel shifted uncomfortably. His lawyer whispered something, but the judge cut him off. "Mr. Collins, I'm asking you." Daniel cleared his throat. "No, not directly." The judge turned a page. "Do you dispute that your mother paid for the home's purchase, property taxes, and all renovations?" A pause. "No." Silence filled the room. Amanda sat frozen, her arms wrapped tightly around herself, eyes locked on the floor. The judge sighed. "I've reviewed the documents. The evidence is overwhelming." He shuffled the papers together. "Judgment is in favor of the plaintiff, Mrs. Ida Collins. The defendant is ordered to reimburse Mrs. Collins the sum of $132,680 for the documented costs related to the property, in addition to filing fees. Furthermore, the defendant is barred from any attempt to sell, rent, or leverage the property, as long as the life estate remains in effect." I exhaled slowly. It was done. It was real. Not a threat, not a warning, a ruling, a legal fact. Diana leaned over, whispered, "Congratulations, Ida. You did it," the judge continued. "I strongly encourage the parties to consider mediation for any remaining disputes outside the court. But as far as this property is concerned, this matter is settled." His gavel came down. Court adjourned. As we stepped out into the hallway, Daniel trailed behind, staring at the floor like he couldn't process what just happened. Amanda kept pace with him, her eyes darting between me and the exit like she couldn't decide if she wanted to scream or run. I didn't look at them. Not directly. I walked out of that courthouse the same way they walked away from me at the airport. Without a word. Later that afternoon, I sat at my kitchen table, laptop open, reviewing the settlement paperwork Diana had emailed. I could hear my phone buzzing across the room. I didn't bother to check who it was. I already knew. Daniel, Amanda. Maybe both. I let it ring. I let it go to voicemail. I finished signing the documents. Filed them. Then I opened a new browser tab, typed, "Solo vacations for women over 60. A page full of results popped up. River cruises in Europe, food tours in Italy, small group trips to Portugal. I clicked through a few, reading the details. Then, paused. My eyes stopped on one headline, "Explore Greece, a women's-only experience." I clicked, Santorini, Mykonos, Athens. 10 days, all-inclusive, no drama, no obligations, no pretending to be part of a family that only saw me when they needed something. I booked it, full payment, non-refundable, in my name, just me. 2 days later, the final confirmation arrived. The funds from the court settlement were transferred directly into my account, a lump sum I never thought I'd see again. Money I'd been convinced was lost forever. Money that represented more than dollars. It represented boundaries. It represented freedom. It represented the line I'd drawn in the sand. The line that finally held. The next morning, a single message came through from Daniel. No voicemail, just a text. "Daniel, I don't even know what to say anymore. You made your choice. I guess now we know where we stand." I stared at it for a long time, and for the first time, it didn't sting. It didn't twist. It didn't make me question myself. I finally understood something simple. I didn't burn that bridge. They did. I just stopped standing on the ashes waiting for it to rebuild itself. 1 week later, I stood at the airport, this time, ticket in hand, passport in my bag, my name on every reservation. No one forgot me. No one erased me. No one left me behind. I walked through the terminal, past the security checkpoint, toward a gate that didn't hold tension, humiliation, or betrayal. It held a plane, a destination, a beginning. For the first time in a very, very long time, I wasn't waiting for anyone, and I wasn't waiting to be chosen. I chose me. Closed it, then tried again. It was a mistake. No, it wasn't. I cut her off. You planned it. You knew exactly what you were doing. Her jaw clenched, and Daniel, I continued, stood there, watched, let it happen. Her face twitched. She wasn't used to this. To me, standing like this, calm, direct, no tears, no begging. Amanda looked down at her shoes. You're tearing this family apart. No, I said, my voice flat. You did that when you decided I wasn't part of it. Silence, long, heavy. Finally, she muttered, I didn't think you'd actually fight back. I let the weight of that hang in the air. I know, I said quietly. You never did. She turned. Stormed off. I didn't watch her leave. I just closed the door, locked it, and walked back to my kitchen. The next morning, the message from Diana was waiting. Ida, based on the financial documents you've provided, our case is airtight. I've filed an additional motion for financial exploitation of an elder family member. It's a serious charge, but absolutely appropriate given the evidence. I leaned back in my chair. For years, I wondered if I was imagining it, if I was being dramatic, if I was being too sensitive, the way Amanda always said. But it wasn't in my head. It was real. On paper. In black and white. Undeniable. By noon, Daniel called. I let it go to voicemail, played it back. Mom, I don't even know how this got so bad. We never meant for this to happen. You're our family. I don't know how we fix this. But can we please figure something out before this goes even further? I didn't delete it. Didn't respond. I sat there, staring out the window. And for the first time in my life, I realized something. It wasn't about fixing it, not anymore. It was about finally learning how to live without them. And that felt like freedom. The court date arrived faster than I expected. I stood in front of the bathroom mirror that morning, staring at my reflection. I didn't feel nervous. I didn't feel angry. I felt steady, grounded. For the first time, in years, I wasn't walking into something confused, unsure, or apologetic. I was prepared. I was ready. The courthouse wasn't large, but it was formal enough to carry weight. The room smelled like old wood and polished floors. People shuffled in and out, some dressed in suits, others in jeans and t-shirts, looking just as uncomfortable as Daniel did when I saw him walk in. He barely made eye contact. Amanda was right. Behind him, arms crossed, jaw tight. Her expression was a mix of annoyance and disbelief, as if she still couldn't believe this was actually happening. As if, deep down, she still thought I would cave, that I'd walk in, see the discomfort in Daniel's face, and throw the whole thing away. She didn't know me anymore. Maybe she never did. Diana sat beside me, calm and composed, reviewing the paperwork one last time. When the judge entered, the room quieted. Case number 38542, Collins versus Collins, the clerk announced. The judge glanced at the file, then at us. Let's proceed. Diana stood first. Your Honor, this case concerns a financial dispute regarding the Lake Tahoe property. My client, Mrs. Ida Collins, is the sole financial contributor to the purchase, maintenance, and taxes of said property for over 7 years. Despite the deed being placed under her son's name, she retained a legal life estate interest, granting her full rights to occupancy and management. Additionally, this claim includes direct reimbursements for expenses related to the property and various documented financial transactions supporting her son and his family over the past decade. She paused, handed the judge a thick file. Every expense is detailed here with supporting documentation, bank statements, checks, invoices, and communication logs. The judge flipped through the documents, nodding slightly. Then it was Daniel's attorney's turn. A man in his mid-40s, expensive suit, hair perfectly styled, but his confidence wasn't matching his appearance. Not today, Your Honor. While we acknowledge the life estate clause, we contend that the financial contributions were gifts, normal familial support. There was never a written agreement suggesting these were loans or that repayment was expected, Diana responded instantly. The law recognizes that while occasional support may be considered a gift, sustained financial dependence, covering mortgages, utilities, some from Amanda, a couple from numbers I didn't recognize, which I knew exactly who they were. Her mother, probably her sister. All of them followed the same pattern. Different words, same message. You're overreacting. This isn't how family treats each other. We didn't mean for it to go this far. Not one of them contained the words, I'm sorry. Not once did anyone say, what we did to you was wrong. Just deflection, guilt, manipulation. The same thing I'd dealt with for years, but this time was different. I didn't feel cornered. I didn't feel guilty. I felt steady. I made breakfast, fried eggs, toast, coffee, sat at the kitchen table, and ignored every single notification that lit up my phone. Mid-morning, the call came in from Diana. I just got word from the clerk. She started, her tone calm but firm. They've officially scheduled the court date for the reimbursement claim on the Tahoe property. I nodded, even though she couldn't see me. Good. Also, she continued, we've submitted the notice for the lien on the property. Until this is resolved in court, Daniel can't sell it, rent it, or leverage it in any way. It's legally locked. I closed my eyes for a moment. Let that sink in. Perfect. I've seen plenty of cases like this, Diana said. But I want to be honest with you, Ida. Most clients in your situation, they back out before it goes this far. Why? Because guilt wins. Family pressure wins. People convince themselves that it's easier to just let it go. I shook my head. Not this time. A pause. Then Diana said, good, because you're absolutely doing the right thing. Around noon, Daniel tried something new. Instead of the usual passive-aggressive voicemails, he switched tactics. I watched the text appear on my phone screen. Daniel, Mom, look, I know you're upset, and I know Amanda messed up with the passport. But the kids, they don't deserve this. They're confused. They don't understand what's happening. They miss you. Please, don't do this to them. There it was. Using the kids as a shield, as leverage. Classic. I didn't even flinch. I knew exactly how this game worked. If they were so worried about what the kids were learning from this situation, maybe they should have thought about that before standing at the airport, letting me be humiliated like I was nothing more than luggage left behind. I didn't reply. Not even tempted. By late afternoon, a second email from Diana arrived. Subject line: further documentation, evidence request. I opened it. Ida, please provide any documentation of the financial contributions you've made to Daniel and Amanda over the past 10 years. Anything you have, bank statements, payment records, receipts, will strengthen our case. I closed the email, got up, walked straight to the hallway closet, pulled out the filing box labeled Daniel Household. I sat down on the floor, opened it, and started sorting. Mortgage payments, utility bills, credit card statements where I'd covered their expenses, the daycare bills from when Amanda couldn't work for 2 years, but still managed spa days. Every other month, the $9,800 transfer labeled Home Repairs Front Deck from 3 years ago. The $5,200 for car down payment. The endless list of small loans that were never really loans at all. I wasn't just part of the family. I was the family's financial backbone, and the saddest part? I'd never even noticed how deep it went until I put it all in one pile. Pile that could fill an entire dining table. I took photos, scanned documents, uploaded everything into the folder Diana had shared. By the time I was done, my hands were steady. My heart wasn't pounding. I didn't feel nervous. I felt focused. That evening, a knock at my door. I opened it. Amanda, standing there. No makeup, puffy eyes, shoulders tense. I crossed my arms. What? Her voice was sharp, defensive. We need to talk. No, I said flatly. You need to talk. I'm fine. She shifted, looking anywhere but my face. I don't know what's going on with you, but this is ridiculous. You've gone too far. Have I? Yes, she snapped. Canceling the hotel, the car, the phones, filing a lawsuit? You're trying to ruin us. I tilted my head. Ruin you? Amanda. I didn't strand anyone at an airport. I didn't forget anyone's passport. I didn't use someone's money to go on vacation and then pretend they didn't exist. She opened her mouth. I don't even know what to say. I guess you've made your point. Amanda's upset. The kids are confused. But maybe we all need to take a breath. I get it, okay? I get that you're upset. We should have handled things differently. Let's just talk when you're ready. I replayed it once. No apology. No. I'm sorry for what we did. Just, you've made your point. I placed the phone down. This wasn't about a point. This was about dignity, about respect, about no longer being the family ATM. I didn't respond. Not yet. Not until I decided if they were even worth a response. The next morning, I had a missed call from an unknown number. Then a voicemail. I hit play. It was Amanda's mother. Ida, this is Carol. I don't know what's going on between you and Amanda, but the kids are miserable. This isn't like you. I always thought you were a kind woman. Please, be the bigger person here. Think about the family. I almost laughed. Be the bigger person. Translation. Go back to being the doormat. Keep paying. Keep smiling. Keep pretending everything's fine. I deleted the voicemail. No reply. I opened my email. Another one from Diana. Ida. Paperwork is filed for the reimbursement claim on the Tahoe property. I've also prepared a cease and desist letter regarding any future use of the property without your written consent. Please review and approve. I opened the PDF. It was perfect, direct, professional. I signed it digitally. Within minutes, Diana replied, letter sent. They should receive it within 48 hours. At 3:52 p.m., the phone rang again. Daniel. I let it go to voicemail. A minute later, the alert popped up. Mom, I just got this letter from some lawyer. What is this? Are you seriously suing me over the Tahoe house? Are you kidding me? After everything we've done for you? Everything they'd done for me. Unbelievable. I closed my eyes, breathed slowly. They truly believed it. That years of me paying their bills, covering emergencies, babysitting their kids day and night, somehow, was them doing something for me? It wasn't just entitlement. It was delusion. I didn't respond. Not to the voicemail. Not to the text that came 5 minutes later. Not to the second voicemail. Not to the third. By the next day, the tone shifted again. A message from Amanda. Ida. I think this has gone far enough. The kids are devastated. You're tearing this family apart. Is this really the legacy you want to leave? Just think about what you're doing. Tearing the family apart, as if it wasn't already in pieces the second they left me standing alone at the airport like I was nothing. As if it wasn't Amanda who orchestrated this entire thing. As if it wasn't Daniel who stood by and let it happen. I sat on the couch, scrolled back through years of text messages, requests for money, requests for favors, requests for babysitting. Not a single thank you, not a single are you okay, just can you help, can you pay, can you cover this until next month, and me. Always saying yes. Always. Until now. At 11:42 a.m. the email came in. Subject line. Claim response. Daniel Collins. I opened it. It was from Diana. Ida. They've responded to the reimbursement claim. They're contesting it. However, their response is weak. No documentation. No proof of contributions on their end. Based on the records you've kept, and I must say, your record keeping is excellent. We have an extremely strong case. I recommend proceeding to small claims court. We will likely win. I hit reply. Do it. Send. That afternoon, the doorbell rang. I opened the door. A courier. Package for Mrs. Ida Collins. I signed for it. A thick envelope. Return address, Lake Tahoe County Clerk. Inside was the official court filing. The claim was real now, on paper. Legally binding. It wasn't just me telling them I was done. It was the law telling them the same thing. I made myself dinner, steak, asparagus, roasted potatoes. I sat at the table looking around my house. For the first time, I realized how quiet it was. Not empty, not lonely, just peaceful. My space, my rules, my life. No more being the afterthought. No more being the backup plan. No more being the unpaid babysitter, the emergency bank, the guilted grandmother. Just me, Ida Collins, and for the first time. That was enough. I woke up the next morning to an inbox full of messages, some from Daniel, just to protect my right to live there if anything happened. At the time, Daniel said, "Oh, don't bother, Mom. It's family. We don't need all that." I didn't listen. I filed it. I dug through the file cabinet and pulled out the notarized document. There it was. Life estate holder, Ida Collins. Remainder owner, Daniel Collins. In plain English, Daniel held the deed, but I legally controlled the property until I died. He couldn't sell it, couldn't rent it, couldn't evict me, and I could, if I wanted, file a civil claim requesting compensation for all costs related to upkeep since the transfer. I opened Diana's email again and replied, "Let's add the Tahoe property issue to our conversation." Hit send. By 6 p.m., the texts stopped coming. Silence. Complete. I didn't know if they finally figured out a hotel, or if they borrowed money from someone else, or if they were just sitting somewhere trying to process what was happening. Didn't matter. I made dinner. For myself. Something I hadn't done properly in a long time. A baked salmon, roasted vegetables, glass of wine, and no distractions, no guilt, no obligation. For the first time in decades, I ate a meal entirely for me. The next morning, the voicemail started again, but this time, the tone was different. Amanda's voice, tight, controlled, polished, fake. "Ida, I just wanted to check in. I think there's been some confusion with the reservations. We're sure this is just a mistake. Maybe something with the credit card? Let's talk when you can." I almost laughed. Confusion. Right. 5 minutes later, "Daniel, Mom, look, I think we should talk. Please, let's not blow this up. Let's just figure this out. Figure this out." I stared at the phone. Then, without thinking, I clicked record message. I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I spoke clearly. "Daniel, Amanda, I've received your messages, and I want to be very clear. What happened at the airport wasn't an accident. You both know that. You excluded me from a trip I paid for. You disrespected me. You humiliated me." I paused. "I'm not angry. I'm done. Done being treated like an afterthought. Done financing your lives. Done pretending we're something we're not." Another pause. "You wanted a family vacation without me. Now you have it." I hit send, put the phone down, and exhaled. The silence that followed was the loudest thing I had ever heard, and for the first time in years, it didn't scare me. It felt right. The silence that followed my message was different, heavier, not the kind of silence I'd grown used to, the one filled with disappointment, tension, or being ignored. This was the silence that came when people realized their manipulation didn't work anymore. When the person they thought would always play the fool finally decided they were done. By midday, my phone was still quiet. No texts, no voicemails, no apologies, nothing. I half expected Amanda to launch into another round of fake apologies wrapped in thinly veiled insults, or Daniel to call, pretending none of it had ever happened, as if a simple, "let's move past this" would wipe everything away. But there was nothing. I made another cup of coffee and opened my laptop again. There was an email waiting from Diana. "Ida, I reviewed the deed transfer on the Tahoe property. Good news, you have a solid case. The documented life estate secures your right to occupy and control the property for as long as you live. Additionally, based on the financial records you provided, bank statements, invoices for repairs, taxes, you can file a reimbursement. Claim for costs incurred over the last 7 years. Let me know if you'd like me to proceed." I stared at the screen. A claim for everything I'd spent keeping that house standing while Daniel pretended it was some generous gift he had given me. I clicked reply. Move forward. I want the claim filed. Sent. Simple as that. The rest of the afternoon passed with an odd sense of stillness. I took a walk around the neighborhood, something I hadn't done in months, maybe years. Not like this. Not without rushing back to answer someone's call, pick up one of the kids, or run some errand Amanda didn't feel like doing herself. The trees were greener than I remembered. The air smelled fresher. It wasn't the world that had changed. It was me. When I got back home, the silence broke. A voicemail from Daniel. I played it. Mom. Look, Amanda. Ida, answer me. Daniel is freaking out. This is not funny. We're stuck at the airport with the kids. Call me. I stared at the screen, completely silent. Then a fourth. Daniel. Mom, please. What's going on? Did something happen? With the reservations? No apology. No remorse. Just panic. I turned the phone face down, poured myself another cup of coffee, and for the first time in a very long time, I felt something I hadn't felt in years. Peace. By the time the fifth message from Amanda hit my phone, the buzzing didn't even bother me anymore. It was background noise, a fitting soundtrack for years of being ignored until they needed something from me. I didn't even open the texts anymore. I could guess exactly what they said. The pattern never changed. First came fake confusion, then mild panic, then full-on blame. That's how it always was. I poured myself another cup of coffee, sat at the kitchen table, and opened my laptop again. The first email I opened was from Diana. Subject: Estate changes. Documents ready for signature. It was all there: the trust, the updated will, the beneficiary modifications, everything, neatly organized, professionally handled. I stared at the line that read, Removed, Daniel Collins, former primary beneficiary, and below it, added, The Ida Collins Living Trust. No hesitation. I clicked sign, then a pop-up asked, Are you sure you want to finalize these changes? For the first time in years, I didn't second-guess myself. Yes. The phone rang again. This time, Daniel. Let it go to voicemail? A minute later, the alert popped up. I hit play. Mom, please call me. We just landed in Cancun and there's nothing. No car, no hotel. We don't even know where to go. The kids are upset. Amanda's. Look, I don't know what's going on, but please just call me. His voice cracked toward the end. I closed the voicemail. I didn't delete it. I wasn't ready to do that yet, but I wasn't ready to respond either. I sat back, let my fingers drum on the table. They were stranded. Not permanently, not dangerously. Let's be clear. They had credit cards. Amanda's parents had money if they really needed help. They weren't helpless, just uncomfortable. For the first time ever, they were forced to figure things out without me. And as much as it should have made me feel guilty, it didn't. Not even a little. That afternoon, I went through every shared financial tie I had left with them. First stop, the joint savings account. I logged in. The balance was $14,180. Technically, it was my money. But years ago, when Daniel and Amanda were struggling to buy their house, they convinced me to open a joint account. Just for emergencies, Daniel said. We won't touch it unless absolutely necessary. A lie. Over the years, they dipped into it plenty of times. For what? A necessary home remodel. A necessary trip to Disneyland. A necessary upgrade on Amanda's SUV. I clicked, Remove Authorized User. A warning popped up. Are you sure you want to remove Daniel Collins from this account? Yes. Click Done. I opened the transaction history for curiosity. The last withdrawal was 3 weeks ago. $250. Memo line. Amanda, spa weekend. Of course. I closed the tab and moved to the next one. The phone line. I was paying for their entire family plan. 5 lines. Mine, Daniel's, Amanda's, Emma's, and Liam's. I opened the Verizon account, hit Manage Lines. Click Remove Line, Daniel remove line, Amanda remove line, Emma remove line, Liam. Submit. The confirmation hit my inbox within minutes. They'd probably realize it the second. They tried to make a call. At 5:17 p.m., Daniel called again. I didn't pick up. Voicemail. Mom. Seriously. What's happening? None of our phones are working. We're trying to figure things out, but we can't even call the hotel. What is going on? I didn't respond. Instead, I went to the Lake Tahoe property files. 7 years ago, Daniel convinced me to put the house under his name for tax purposes. Another lie. He didn't want the responsibility of maintenance, but he wanted the title in his name, just in case anything happened. He never paid a cent for it. Not the purchase, not the repairs, not the property taxes. I covered everything, and suddenly, I remembered something. At the time, my lawyer told me I should file a life estate on the property. Another caption. Nothing like family time. Just us. Family. Right. I clicked on the third reservation. This one for the excursion. The Chichen Itza tour. I canceled it. Your refund has been processed. Refund straight to my card. Good. Opened my banking app. 512 returned. Small, but it felt like something. Then I opened the credit card statement. Scrolled. Thousands. Between the flights, hotel, excursions, and the rental car, over $8,300 was charged to my card. For this trip, they hadn't paid me back a dime. I closed the banking app, stared at the wall for a second. I wasn't just angry anymore. I was embarrassed. Embarrassed that I had let it get this far, that I had ignored the signs, that I kept telling myself, it's just Amanda. She's difficult. Daniel doesn't mean it. They're just stressed. Maybe next time will be different. It wasn't. It never was. And now? I finally saw it for what it was. I wasn't part of the family. I was part of the financing. I stood up, walked to the filing cabinet, pulled out a folder labeled Family Documents. In there were copies of the house deed, the car title, the papers for the vacation house in Lake Tahoe, technically under Daniel's name now, but paid in full by me 7 years ago. My hands trembled, not from nerves, from anger. I opened my laptop again and searched family law attorney near me. 5 names popped up. I clicked on the top one, Diana Porter, Escand, specializing in estate law and family asset protection. I didn't even hesitate. Hit book consultation. Tomorrow, 10:30 a.m., virtual meeting. I typed the reason. Want to discuss asset protection and revising beneficiaries. I hit submit. It was the first time in years I had done something entirely for me. That evening, my phone buzzed. A text from Daniel. Daniel. Hey, Mom, everything okay? Haven't heard from you. Hope you're all right. Kids miss you. I stared at it for a full minute. No apology, no acknowledgement, not even a mention of the airport. I didn't answer. 5 minutes later, another text. Daniel. Amanda says you're probably upset. She's really sorry about the passport thing. Honest mistake. Please don't be mad. We'll make it up to you. Make it up to me, right? I placed my phone screen down. No response. I didn't owe them an answer. Not anymore. The next morning, I brewed coffee but barely touched it. My heart was pounding. Not from nerves. Not exactly. More like adrenaline. At 10:27, the Zoom notification dinged. I clicked join. A woman in her late 50s appeared, glasses perched on her nose, a background of framed diplomas behind her. Good morning, Mrs. Collins. I'm Diana. How can I help you? I didn't stumble. I didn't hesitate. I want to make sure that not one penny of what I've worked for ends up in the hands of people who see me as nothing more than a wallet. Diana smiled gently, like she'd heard that line 1,000 times. You've come to the right place. I explained everything. The Lake Tahoe property, the money I had lent over the years, the trip, the manipulation, everything. She nodded along, taking notes. First thing we do, Diana said, is remove Daniel as the beneficiary of your estate. We can set up a trust in your name. Do you have anyone else you'd like to designate? I thought for a moment. My sister, my nieces, maybe a few charities. Anyone but them. Perfect, she said. Second, the Lake Tahoe property. Since it's technically under Daniel's name, that'll be tricky, but not impossible. Depending on how the transfer was documented, there might be a case. Good, I said, voice firmer than I expected. Third, if you want, we can also send a formal notice revoking their financial authority. Do they have any joint accounts with you? Yes, I admitted, ashamed. They've had access to one of my savings accounts for emergencies. She shook her head softly. Let's fix that today. By the end of the hour, the paperwork was drafted, signatures pending, but everything was in motion. Everything. At exactly 3:18 p.m., my phone buzzed again. This time it was Amanda. Amanda. Ida. We have a problem. The hotel says there's no reservation under our name. What's going on? I set the phone down. Let it buzz. Then a minute later, another. Amanda. Also, did you cancel the rental car? We got here and there's nothing reserved for us. What the hell is happening? A third message. So blessed to spend time with those who matter most. Those who matter most. The photo was of the four of them at the gate, smiling. No sign of me. Not even a mention. I felt something shift inside me. The sadness was still there. But something else started bubbling beneath it. Something sharper. This wasn't just a mistake. This wasn't bad luck. This was intentional. This was a message. I wasn't wanted. Not as part of their vacation. Not as part of their family. That night, I barely slept. I tossed. I turned. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw Amanda's smug smile. Daniel's blank, indifferent face. The next morning, I sat at the kitchen table staring at my coffee. Cold. Untouched. That's when I remembered something. Something small, but crucial. When Amanda came to get the documents, she didn't just grab the passports. She also asked for the travel folder, the one with all the reservation numbers, hotel info, car rentals, my credit card details. Because yes, I was the one paying for most of this trip. They promised to reimburse me after, but we all knew that was never going to happen. They had always been tight on money when it came to paying me back, but never too tight to go on trips, buy new phones, or upgrade their SUV. I opened my email. My inbox was full of reservation confirmations, flights, hotels, excursions, car rentals, all booked with my email, my credit card. A sick realization hit. This trip was under my name, my money, and I wasn't even supposed to be there, or maybe. That's exactly why Amanda wanted it this way. Use me. Discard me. Enjoy the benefits. Erase the person. I felt my hands shaking. Not from sadness this time. From something else. Rage. I clicked on one of the reservations. The hotel in Cancun. Check-in date. Tomorrow. Reservation under Ida Collins. Not Amanda. Not Daniel. Me. I opened the details. Right there was a little button. Cancel reservation. My finger hovered over it. I didn't click it. Not yet. Because suddenly an idea started forming. A very clear, very simple idea. If they wanted to pretend I didn't exist on this trip, then maybe it was time they found out what life looks like without me. I sat there, staring at the hotel. Reservation on my laptop screen. My name, my credit card, my email. Every single thing tied to me. The realization was sobering and infuriating. They were sitting on a beach right now, sipping cocktails, laughing, pretending I didn't exist. While my money was paying for every second of it, I clicked into the car rental confirmation. Same thing. Reservation under Ida Collins. The smugness Amanda must have felt knowing she manipulated this entire situation. It made my skin crawl. But what really got to me wasn't just Amanda. It was Daniel. My son. My only child. He stood there. Watched it happen. Didn't even flinch as his wife humiliated me in front of the kids, in front of everyone. I raised that boy, worked overtime, sacrificed vacations, turned down promotions just to be present for him growing up. And this is what I got: a son who saw me as disposable. I scrolled to the next email: a day trip to Chichen Itza. Fully paid, 4 people, again, booked under Ida Collins. I leaned back in my chair, my hands stopped shaking, my mind got quieter. They wanted to erase me from the trip, so I was about to show them what that really felt like. First, the car rental. I logged into the account. Canceling was easy, too easy. "Are you sure you want to cancel this reservation?" the pop-up asked. "Yes." Click. Done. No car waiting for them at Cancun Airport tomorrow. They could figure it out themselves. I refreshed my email. Almost instantly, a notification came through. "Your car rental cancellation is confirmed." Perfect. Next, the hotel. I opened the reservation details. Check-in was tomorrow. I read through the fine print. Non-refundable. That would have bothered me before. Not today. Instead of canceling, I clicked Modify Reservation. I changed the dates. Moved it from June 12th, June 19th to December 3rd, December 10th. Confirmation came through right away. The room was no longer available for them tomorrow. Someone else could take it. Or maybe not. Either way, when they showed up, they'd have nowhere to stay. A bitter smile crept onto my face. Not satisfaction, but something close. A form of quiet justice. I glanced over at the photos Amanda posted that morning. Another one at the pool,